What is going on, Lucid fans? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So the Q4 earnings was a lot of information all at once for investors to really digest. And people are still thinking about it, clearly. And I want to go over some of the questions that potentially Peter did not directly answer. And because of the newly submitted transcripts, I want to break it down if he did actually answer them. So I'm going to go over all the stuff you need to know. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And without further ado, let's get right to it. So when it comes down to the retail posed questions, unfortunately, a lot of people, including myself, were kind of irritated that he didn't directly answer them. But they did answer one question. Is the Saudi PIF taking Lucid private? And I think generally that was a question that everyone wanted to know because, of course, if true, then the next question was how much for, and that would obviously spiral out a little bit. But it does look like Sherry did answer and basically said his policy not to really talk on market rumors. So I think in general that's a very positive thing and basically means that the PIF does not want to take Lucid private. So generally speaking, good stuff. But when it comes down to this question right here, there are about 2 full parked lots of Lucid Airs at the southern end of the factory. Are these for deliveries and so forth? So in general though, Peter didn't directly answer this question. But with the transcripts though, he did kind of answer it outside of it. So in here he says, now as we indicated last quarter, one part of the variance between production and deliveries is the distribution of vehicles across 3 areas of the delivery process. And that includes vehicles in transit, vehicles awaiting quick delivery inspection, and vehicles awaiting delivery to a customer. Now, some of the vehicles were also internal fleet costs for test drives and engineering, but then he says this part right here, and I think this one threw me off. And once again, I'm still trying to digest what he means by this, but he says, a further constraint is because latching the precise specifications of cars we built to that of the customer selection. But like many other companies, we are not immune from a challenging microeconomic environment, or macroeconomic, sorry. So I think generally speaking, what he's trying to say from that, based on even in my summary video, I think they got so gung-ho, really just started to ramp up so much based on the actual reservations, but he does also say that 50% of the reservations were in fact canceled. So I think they started to produce a lot for the reservations to kind of keep them satisfied, but the majority of individuals did cancel. So yes, they kind of did answer that question. So it's a combination of everything. So it's obviously vehicles in transit, waiting delivery inspection, cancellations, and also just awaiting deliveries to customers. So I think it's absolutely everything. But in here, and especially at the tail end of the actual conference call with the analysts asking a lot of questions about the 10 to 14,000 for reservations, Peter did ultimately say it's just lack of demand. So I think ultimately that is where the Air Grand Tourings, there's a lot of them sitting around because of cancellations. So let me know your thoughts on that. How do you interpret this section right here? And basically what he's meaning by all of that. But clearly, even when I did bring up yesterday, a lot of analysts are not enjoying basically what Lucid said on their earnings. So a lot of downgrades, as you can see. So Exane, Bank of America, Morgan Stanley as well. Looks like Morgan Stanley just reiterated there. So good old Adam Jonas, who has a 48% success rating. But even outside of that, though, a lot of individuals just not very happy with Lucid. But once again, I'm still going to continue to go through a lot of these actual parts in the transcripts to hopefully answer a lot of these questions. About this though, they unfortunately did really neglect to talk on exactly when it's going to be. They said it's going to be in the foreseeable future, but didn't really talk on the specifics like I wanted. I want to know the price point. And I did do a poll on Twitter. Not too many people did it, so only about 294, but majority of people do feel that Lucid, the Gravity, does need to have, and it needs to be below at least 120, which of course I think that in reality that's fairly accurate. It does for sure need to be below 120, but based on the technology and various other things that's going to be going into the Gravity, is Lucid actually going to be able to do that? Who knows? So that might be another surprise negative that comes out, because I have a weird feeling that Lucid is going to come out in the 140 range. But of course, based on this and the market, I don't think that will be a very good positive thing for Lucid. But my own interpretation, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not spreading FUD by any means. I'm a very, very big fan of Lucid. And clearly during the earnings, I got very irritated because I do believe, and I truly do believe in Lucid. And right now, Lucid has a very good attribute. It's technology. They have a very good competitive advantage. They're ahead of the rest. But in general, the only thing that they are really lacking is really reading the market. And a lot of people out there in reality are just really finding justification for Lucid's earnings, saying that it's in the first year of production and so forth. Well, guess what? By the time Lucid gets their stuff together, well, Tesla, GM, they've already been investing a ton of money in their technology. Well, guess what? Lucid won't have the next best technology at that stage once Lucid does finally get their stuff together. So in reality, it's a very small window that Lucid has to really accomplish and kind of take market share from a lot of the other automakers, other EVs, aka Tesla. But in general, this is why I think I get very irritated, because Lucid is losing out on their very optimistic window to really thrive. But once again, I could be wrong about that. But still, I think they're really trying to scrape from the bottom of the barrel. And there's, oddly enough, a lot of pumpers out there, such as this individual right here. But as you can see, he's really promoting, and a lot of other people as well. So not just this individual, but a lot of crappy articles saying that there's bullish 2023 production targets. I don't consider the 10 to 14,000 that was set to be bullish by any means. Like, it does not make sense, because based on here, they've already said that they're going to be having the phase 2 completed by mid-year. So for argument's sake, June. So theoretically, from then onwards, they should be able to produce 45,000 based on just the phase 2 fully completed. Currently, we are in phase 1. So it is fair to assume that they can do roughly about 62,000 vehicles by the end of the year. So if I told you I can do about 14,000 vehicles, whereas my limit is 62,000, wouldn't you be like, well, what on earth are you talking about? Why can't you ramp up? It doesn't make any sense. And luckily enough, this time around, a lot of the analysts were tired of clearly Peter's BS. And for instance, right here, looks like Bank of America, John Murphy, he actually even said, well, Peter, you're saying that there is no bottlenecking. Why are you only doing between the 10 to 14,000 based on everything? Especially, you even said yourself, you can ramp up as much as you want. And this is where, unfortunately, Peter did say that behind the scenes there is in fact some bottlenecking with the supplies for the Pure. So once again, as I always say, don't even trust what I say. Just do your own due diligence. Don't trust a lot of pumpers out there. There's a lot of prophets claiming to know absolutely every other aspect, inside information of Lucid, for instance. And actually, I think that there was a couple comments as well right before Lucid's earnings saying that they know some inside information and that they're buying 35,000 shares of Lucid. So in general, there's a lot of prophets out there. So make sure you guys do your own due diligence at the end of the day. I think in general, though, the earnings did have some finite positives, more specifically, like I already mentioned about the technology. They really boasted about the whole defense contract, and that is going to be very beneficial for Lucid because, and it was selected because of their technology. So once again, let me know your thoughts on that. It is roughly about 30 minutes left on Friday into Power Hour. So I'll give you a quick summary on exactly what shorts are doing and where we are at as far as the technicals and what to basically expect for next week. So short score is currently 82, utilization is still at 100%. And as far as what is happening, shorts are increasing almost about 900,000 shares. So pretty normal in reality, given the circumstances. 22.05% is the short interest, which is the percentage of the free float. Still 143.06 million shares is in fact being shorted. And looking on the actual chart, you can see on the intraday, it has wanted to go up. Fundamentally, it has gone down so much so, and I think in reality it's bouncing off of that very strong support. So hopefully going into next week should see a nice push to around the $9 range. I don't think that there's any real justification for it to go past 9 at this stage, unless there's some other news that does come out. But at this stage in the game, I think right now it might be wedge bound. I'll just kind of do a zoom out just so you guys know. It might be wedge bound between kind of these two ranges right here. But once again, that $9 is a very big psychological barrier. And as far as what this is saying, so as far as two separate indicators, stochastic is currently at 14, so very, very much oversold. And potentially, like I said, if there is that positive aspect that does come out, then potentially it could have a small little value rally, of course, just to get it higher. And momentum, number of retail investors for the most part have been getting out. Today, though, is oddly flat. So I think in general, a lot of people are starting to buy the Lucid dip potentially. So once again, though, as I always say, though, long term, Lucid should do a lot of good, exciting things. And I think that's a little bit more of an important takeaway, regardless of the actual short-term price action and the short-term volatility. But once again, I'm not a financial advisor, so So make sure you guys do your own due diligence. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. If you do like my Lucid content, want to support the channel, take a look at my memberships, link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. And one final thing, I've been saying this for the last couple of videos as well, this promo is only up until February the 28th, so make sure you guys take advantage of this just by opening up an account, which is free to do so. You get one free stock, and each stock is valued up to $2,000, so it is a very much easy thing to do, no brainer. And if you want to throw $100 at it as well, you do get 4 free additional stocks, like I said, each valued up to $2,000. So let me know your thoughts on Lucid in the comments below as well, and once again, let's all make a lot of money on Lucid.